The creation story is the first to tell us the origin of our place in God's big story. It is not the origin of God. That would be impossible for God to somehow explain to us. Be beyond our comprehension. No, this is for us to see our origin, to see our place in God's story. God wants us in his story. It's not an accident, and it's not a fight. It's not something we have to defend. It's a story of love of epic proportions. And within all of that, God sees and brings us into it. And as a people in exile, a people lost and far from home, they needed to hear it again. And again and again and again. They needed to remember, we are something bigger than this. We are part of something so much bigger than this. We are God's people. We are part of his big story. And even still, we have a role to play. Thousands of years later, I think we hear this story so differently, and I wish we could hear it just the same. That all of us need to hear that. That when we feel lost and when we feel out of place, when we feel like we don't belong, when we feel like we are unwelcome, when we feel unsure of who we are and what our role is, when we wonder if God has forgotten us, left us to our muck and mire, or even wondered if there was even a God at all, I pray we might hear this story and remember that there is a God who loves us. There is a great big story of God. It is still unfolding. This incredible creation we see around us is still growing. It is still changing. It is still telling the great story of God. And we have a role to play. Wherever you are,